In this video, we will discuss about the binary peritectic system. The binary peritectic system, we will take the components forsterite and silica as our example system. So, in this system, what happens, just like the previous system in the eutectic system, this is the total liquidus and these are the solidus. This system will not have exactly same behavior like the eutectic system, in the sense here we had initially what components we took, final composition of the solid will be similar, but here it might change, and it will not might, it will change, and there will be production of a third component, that is enstatite. Because what is the formula for forsterite? Mg2SiO4. What is this formula for silica? SiO2. When these two will react, what will be formed? Mg2Si2O6. This is enstatite. Therefore, we will have this relation, and this is called incongruent behavior. This is incongruent behavior. Congruent behavior means what we had will produce the same thing. So now, first let's see how it proceeds. For example, for this system, we will take three examples of net: x, y, and z. X, this line represent the line of enstatite. That means beyond this line we can have enstatite. So first melt component we will take in the left side of this line, and second will just above this line, and for third is after this line. So first we will see the behavior of X, how it crystallizes. First we will see crystallization. Equilibrium crystallization. So in the equilibrium crystallization, what process will happen? The X will touch the liquidus here, and here it will first produce, because this is forsterite, the first solid to be produced will be forsterite, and therefore this region is of forsterite plus liquid, and this is the solidus of forsterite. That means below this we will have only forsterite solid. And as we proceed, here we will have continue to get forsterite, and at this point there will be some reaction. What reaction? At this point we will see what reaction we have. So here, for while taking the liquid Y, same forsterite will crystallize first and then keep crystallizing it up to R. And similarly for Z also, we will have forsterite crystallizing first up to R. Now we see what behavior changes for X, Y, and Z liquid at point R. Because X is more enriched in forsterite, we will have, there is two conditions in the R. First, we will have, by the reaction of forsterite and liquid, we can get enstatite. That means, how we will get enstatite? Any one has to be consumed. Therefore, if liquid will consume, we will get, and in the final product, forsterite plus enstatite. And if forsterite is consumed, we will get, there will be forsterite is consumed, then there will be a eutectic relationship between silica and enstatite, and we will get enstatite plus silica. So how it proceeds, which liquid will give what kind of product, we will see now. So at point R, we will have forsterite, liquid, and then there will be reaction. So the forsterite plus liquid for X, for forsterite plus liquid will give enstatite, and now there are three phases: forsterite solid, enstatite solid, and liquid. So from the phase diagram rule, P plus F equal to C plus, for isobaric let's consider C plus 1. Here we have three phases, 3 plus F equal to C. How many components? 2 plus 1. Therefore, this will cancel and F equal to 0. That means the liquid will not move anywhere in the system. Therefore, we need to, one of the components, either forsterite or liquid, has to be consumed to move the reaction further, to move the system further. So after understanding why we need to exhaust any one of them, we shall now proceed to see which one will exceed. If the composition is more enriched in forsterite, then liquid will be consumed. That means the final product will be forsterite plus enstatite. All the forsterite that we have, all the liquid that we have will react with the forsterite, and finally some part of the, suppose. So for liquid at X, we will have, suppose for diagrammatic representation, we have in the total melt, we have this much percentage of forsterite and this much percentage of silica. So because it is traveling, the liquid is traveling more distance during the crystallization of forsterite, that means more of the forsterite will be crystallized. That means this much part is taken out from the melt. Therefore, now we have this much part of forsterite in melt and this much part of forsterite as solid. Now at R point, what happens? This forsterite will react with silica, and therefore the total silica in the melt will be consumed and will produce enstatite, and at that point the rest of the forsterite will crystallize, and so we will have enstatite plus forsterite for X cell point or peritectic point or peritectic point, because initially we took forsterite and silica and finally we got forsterite plus enstatite. This is a totally different thing from our initial composition. Now we will see for the Y. For Y, we will have first crystallizing of forsterite, and then when at R we will see what reaction happens. Same forsterite plus liquid gives rise to enstatite, but what will be consumed first? At this point, suppose this is A, this is B, and this is C. This point is B is directly above the line, enstatite line. So, and here also the percentage of forsterite is more. According to Lever rule, this will be the percentage of forsterite and this will be the percentage of silica. So percentage of forsterite is more still. Therefore, the same thing will happen just like the one in X. The same process like in X. So we don't need to discuss about it in much detail. So now at Z, for Z. Now for Z we need to see what happens. Forsterite plus liquid gives rise to enstatite. Now here what happens? The composition of forsterite has been decreased, not so significantly, but still here not much forsterite is produced from the melt. Not much forsterite. Suppose this is the total liquid, this is silica, this is forsterite. Not much forsterite is crystallized. So only part of forsterite is crystallized. Suppose if you need to see from this point to this, the percentage of crystallized forsterite will be very less. So if we reduce this, now we have total here at point, the total melt we have along with a little of forsterite only, little of forsterite solid. So this forsterite solid will react with the total melt and will produce up to this much only. This much percentage of it will consume only this much. It will react with only this much percent of silica. Therefore, only this much percent of enstatite will form. And now this total this total melt that contains forsterite plus silica will have a different behavior here, because it has crossed the line of, this is called the line of this is called a critical line. That means beyond this line, if you consider this line, suppose this is M, this is O, R. So at M, O and R, this line, this represent enstatite, this represent forsterite, and this represent silica. So we need to have this line represent, that means forsterite and silica give rise to enstatite. This line represent that only. Therefore, at this point, we need to have the total forsterite and silica converted into behave as the enstatite liquid. After this line, we will only have enstatite liquid. Therefore, the liquid will behave as the melt of enstatite. So, the enstatite will keep crystallizing here. Therefore, it will, this field will be enstatite plus liquid. So here we have enstatite crystallizing, and at this point we will have, like the eutectic relationship, we will have both enstatite and silica crystallizing. So here it will be enstatite plus silica, and this will be silica plus liquid. So this was all about your equilibrium crystallization. And now for fractional crystallization, how it will proceed? This X, melt X, first it will produce forsterite solid, and the forsterite solid will be taken away from the total system. Therefore, the forsterite in the total system will keep decreasing as we move towards along this line towards R. So up to a point R, it will the forsterite will totally get out, and it will produce a rock name as dunite. Dunite is a monominerally rock composed only of olivine. It means mostly forsterite. And then at point R, it will behave as enstatite melt, and total enstatite will keep crystallizing, and it will crystallize up to point E, and then we will have crystallization of, this will produce pyroxenite. And at this point we will have enstatite and silica crystallizing, and therefore we will have part of, so enstatite at point E, enstatite and silica will crystallize, and we will have part of pyroxenite. This is enstatite, that means it is orthopyroxenite. It will be orthopyroxenite and quartz formation. So this will be a fractional crystallization for any of you. For Y also this will be same. For Z also we will have first forsterite crystallizing and then coming out, then enstatite, and then enstatite plus silica. For all of them, it will be like this. Now we will see for the equilibrium melting. We had the first solid for X about this composition. Let it be 1. And for Y we had at eutectic point 2, and also for Z we had 3 at eutectic point. So first we will melt the rock 1. That means the rock that consists of forsterite plus enstatite will melt first, and here we have the forsterite plus enstatite means this is a peridotite. This rock will first, its temperature will increase, and up to R point, here we will have forsterite plus enstatite, and then they will produce the total liquid. So we have 3 phases. Therefore, at this point, 3 phases means P plus F equal to C plus 1, 3 plus F equal to 2 plus 1, we have F equal to 0. Therefore, 1 needs to be consumed. What will be consumed? Enstatite will be consumed. So, enstatite will be consumed, and we will have forsterite melting up to this temperature. And then we will have total forsterite converted to liquid. And for the Y and Z, what we will have? For Y and Z, the rock 2 and 3 are orthopyroxenite plus quartz. Therefore, they will have eutectic relationship like we saw in the eutectic diagram, they will both melt and one phase will be consumed. That is, here quartz will be consumed first and then the reaction, the melting will continue up to R point. Here the total melt will be not total, part of the melt will be converted to, part of the rock will be converted into melt, and then up to Z or Y, the initial composition, here we will have the complete solid converting into liquid. So this will be your equilibrium melting. So what about fractional melting? So for fractional melting, first we will have for rock 1, here we have astatite, totally getting astatite, plus we have astatite plus forsterite in the rock. So astatite will be completely taken out and then there will be no melting along this line and the final melting will be at this, because the complete astatite is taken out of system and we have only pure forsterite. So for pure forsterite we need to increase the temperature to this, because this is the melting temperature of pure forsterite. Similarly for 2 and 3, what happens? For 2 and 3 liquid, first they will have here the total quartz will be taken out and then we will have only astatite. So the astatite will, here there will be no melting and there will be melting of astatite here. So there will be melting of astatite here and the melt will be taken out and therefore it will stop here. For fractional crystal melting, for fractional melting it will not move to here. So we have also discussed the phase rule here within the diagram. So we are done for the binary peritectic system. What kind of textures we can find? Because first, because this is a reaction diagram, that means first the forsterite is forming and then it is reacting with the surrounding liquid. Therefore, this forsterite, after reacting, there will be production of astatite around it. This part will react with liquid and this will produce astatite. It will be like a rim around the forsterite solid. Therefore, this structure is known as reaction rim. This texture is known as reaction rim. And you apply the lever rule similarly to find out how much percent of astatite or liquid or forsterite or liquid or any material, any component is there.